When you see this... When you see this, you won't believe it. How seamless it was, this editing I do. Okay. Man, with Jill, I'm just like super low when it comes to health items. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. What's with this area? I'm assuming that, like, instead of the Factory of the Dead, or, like, it's probably going to be, like, a combination Factory of the Dead and, like, a lab underneath the hospital.
Oh, this must be the way underground.
So I'm assuming it's gonna skip the, like, the one last run through the streets in order to get to the park. Is what it seems like. I don't know. Like, again, it comes down to, like, the structure of the first two Resident Evil games compared to the structure of Resident Evil 3. It just had so much less in terms of, like, clear, important locations of progression.
How is it no one in the hospital ever noticed all this?
Umbrella had a secret lab in the mountains, in a mansion in the mountains. No, it had a training facility in the mountains that was within walking distance of the mansion where, like, one of the CEOs of the company worked and lived. And underneath that mansion, where that was like an actual mansion that people lived, there was a research lab. And then there was the Nest lab that Birkin worked at, thank God. Gather fuses. I'm good at that. There was the Nest Lab, which, if you believe Resident Evil 0, was within walking distance of the mansion from Resident Evil 1, which that's a whole other thing that I don't even want to fathom how that fucking is supposed to work. Considering that lab. Nikolai. Go back and mix that up real quick. Sit tight, Nikolai. I'll be back. I might as well bring this, because who knows what's going to happen. I'll drop off the mine rounds. Those seem very situational. And I don't think I'm gonna get a new weapon. There's the lab from RE2, which supposedly is within walking distance. So, like, God, Resident Evil 0 is so fucking stupid. And then there's the lab underneath the hospital in like Raccoon City General. And then there was the Factory of the Dead, the disposal facility. And that was all Raccoon. Jesus fucking Christ.
I must admit, I respect your tenacity. But I'm afraid our games end here.
You think this is over?
Those were all of Umbrella's facilities, like, in and around fucking, Raccoon City. Let's not forget that Umbrella had a Europe division, where they had facilities in Europe, wherever the fuck that's wherever in Europe, and then they had the like prison facility on Rockford Island. Jesus, and then they had the Antarctica base with the replica of the Spencer estate alongside the lab in Antarctica. Umbrella's so fucking retarded. And that's not even getting into the concept of if you want to consider Nest. Like, that's the other thing, is like, do you think of... That is one part of the debate. Not debate, but like, the subject matter. Jesus, actual Christ. That is interesting to consider and think about is, do you consider these Resident Evil remakes, the remake of 2 and 3, to be replacements? What is with this thing? Oh, I see. Weird, but okay. It's just invulnerable, I guess. Interesting. Do you consider this game to be a replacement? Like, they're remakes, but are remakes replacements? That's like the real question. Like, I no longer have to play the original because the remake exists now. I mean, that's fucking, I don't want to get into like Final Fantasy VII, but that's the way people are treating the quote-unquote remake for Final Fantasy VII, which I emphatically disagree with. The idea that the Final Fantasy VII quote-unquote, what they are calling a remake of Final Fantasy VII, that is not a replacement for the original Final Fantasy VII. To any... Jesus fucking Christ! To any capacity will the quote-unquote Final Fantasy VII Remake be a replacement for Final Fantasy VII, the original. But, like is Yakuza Kiwami a replacement for Yakuza 1? Is Metal Gear Solid the Twin Snakes a replacement? Is Metal Gear Solid the Twin Snakes a replacement for Metal Gear Solid 1? I think many people for that one would be a no-brainer as saying, like, no, it is not. But, like, that is the question.
No, wait.
That is the question. of, is it a replacement? Or is the original still just as valid? And if so, then what's the point of a remake, right? So I would say, like, the original remake, the remake of Resident Evil 1, because that game exists, because the remake of Resident Evil 1 exists, I would be willing to put my hand down and say, there's no reason to play Resident Evil 1 anymore. You can ignore Resident Evil 1's existence and just play Remake. I would be willing to espouse that opinion. Nope. So that's me being stupid in many ways. What the fuck is this regenerator bullshit? Interesting development. I would be willing to say that, like, you don't have to play the original Resident Evil anymore. You can just play Remake. But would you say the same thing about Resident Evil 2? That's the thing, is I would not. I would not say that Resident Evil 2 Remake is a replacement for Resident Evil 2 Original. I would say that the original Resident Evil 2 is still worth playing. Like, Remake is so much better than Resident Evil 1 that there's no reason to play Resident Evil 1. But Remake 2, RE2, nice, is, like, I would say it's just as good, right? It's a very good game. I wouldn't say it's so outrageously and otherworldly an improvement of such amazing, like, above and beyond proportions that you can now ignore Resident Evil 2 Original's existence and only play Resident Evil 2 Remake. I would say Resident Evil 2 is still so good that it's worth playing, even though Resident Evil 2 Remake exists. But what about this game? Like, and so, like, there's different. That's the spectrum, I think. Is this remake better than the original? For the remake of Resident Evil 1, yes. The remake is better than the original. Therefore, it's, you know, good that it exists. And it like, validates its existence. But on the other hand, if it's not as good as the original, or even arguably worse than the original, like, for example, let's take... Okay. Oh, shit. Nope, going up here. Real quick. Real quick. Real quick! Can I go up ladders? Or can I just snipe them from up here? That's just a person. That's not even a zombified like scientist. Jill, switch your arm here. Oh, that's a police officer. Damn it. It was a police officer. Now it's a zombie. Like, let's take... Okay, so Remake 1 of Resident Evil 1, the remake of the original Resident Evil, is such an improvement that it invalidates the existence of the original game. That's what you want a remake to do. That should be the function that a remake serves. That is the reason you should remake a game, is to be so much of an improvement that it's like, why even play the original now? Like, what is even the point of the original existing? Ah, fuck. I don't know. That was a weird situation, I think. A little bit more than I was prepared to deal with. But, like, if a game is... Like, let's take Final Fantasy VII, quote-unquote, remake. That is actively worse. Oh my god, this set me so far back. That's actually ridiculous. Wow. Ooh, I should have saved when I had the chance, I guess. Ugh, that's frustrating. Okay, so... Okay, so that's durable. Is that it? No. Huh. Interesting. The other guy was, like, put down. Does this guy just have a lot of HP, or is he a regenerator? That's the question. I think he might just have a lot of HP. It's hard to say, because the other guy was put down.
Oh, shit.
Oh no. Don't fall over. On
I'm here.
On the couch. Use your headphones. Those jump scares you don't want to miss out on.
They put their logo on the little controls.
No, yeah, just look, brand is important. Umbrella understands the importance of brands. I was in the middle of talking about, like, the function of remakes. And it's like...
Of RE makes?
Yes, RE makes in particular. Because the question really is, like, what's the point of making a remake of something? A quote-unquote remake of something. Because take the remake of Resident Evil 1. It's, like, better. It is straight up an active improvement over the original game. So it's like, you no longer have to... Oh, right. Like, that's kind of a little bit of BS, I think, a little bit, because Jill's reaction animation lasts long enough to where now the Zombambo dog can attack, and there's kind of, anyway. Dogs are the worst. It's like, you no longer have to play Resident Evil 1, because Remake exists. Spooky.
Spoop.
But like Resident Evil 2, the remake of Resident Evil 2, I wouldn't say that that's so outrageously better. I wouldn't say that that's better than the original Resident Evil 2. So it's like, I would still say the original Resident Evil 2 is worth playing.
Remake and the original release.
Like, they're both on the same level. So what purpose does remaking it serve? If you're gonna remake it, and it's like, yeah, it's just as good, then why remake it? Like, why bother playing the remake if you can just do the original? That's the ultimate question. And then there's remakes which are inarguably worse than the original and serve no function in existing, such as the Final Fantasy VII quote-unquote remake. So this is happening. Oh, I didn't see this.
Well, there's a difference in intention behind the people remaking it. Why are they remaking it?
Yeah, that's true. Why are they remaking Final Fantasy VII? Money.
Yeah. Some if they do it just for money, then it's usually not going to be good. But if they do it as a question of what would this game be like if we made it today instead, that's a different story.
Yeah, and I think that is the idea that they had. They were made 20 years apart.
Yes.
Remake 1 and Remake 2 were made, Capcom was a very different company when they remade when they remade Resident Evil 1 compared to when they just remade Resident Evil 2, but I do think the intention was the same both times, which is what you said of what would this game be like if we made it today.
Yes.
It's still taking the it's being done with affection,
Yes.
rather than
For artistic...
desperate greed.
Yeah, it's made as an artistic choice, not a monetary or economic choice.
That's the thing, because I think Resident Evil 2 was a very good game, the remake of Resident Evil 2, but I would still say Resident Evil 2, the original, is still worth playing. I still think you should play that game. So the question almost becomes, does the remake of the game warrant its own existence? Especially considering they change shit from the original in its remake. You talk to someone who never played Resident Evil 2, the original release, they're not going to know what the marshalling yard is, the area with the train. And then the question becomes well, is that an area worth preserving, considering it was such a short, little transitionary area of the game? What's really lost? And, the only reason you really care that it's not there is because of nostalgia. That's what I was... Because I haven't looked up spoilers or anything, or any reviews or whatever, but I did see some people talking about, there were some cuts from the original game in this remake. There are some areas that were in the original that are not in this game. And the only one so far that I can even think of as an example of that is the clock tower. They kind of didn't have the clock tower area in this game.
I wouldn't know. I was not here.
Yes. That saves some time. Fucker. That's also... Ooh. Ooh, I know. I'll do this. I mean, I'm not gonna hold on to these, so... Ooh. Wow, look at all this gunpowder. I'm gonna have to make some room in my inventory. Oh, look, it's the Vor. Yeah, you also missed out on the Vor. There was a degree of discussion with the Vors.
What is this?
There we go. Do you think that soda's for you?
Excuse me. It's Master Kitty and I have things to say.
It makes Master Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna see what happens when I combine 2 high-grade gunpowders. Ooh.
Gentlemen, when it comes to the mic.
So, you were there... you've only seen it once, really. You only you've been watching the videos. But, ooh, cool. For the original Resident Evil 3... Can you, remember, what's the progression of that game when you think back on it? There was, in the RE1, there was, the mansion, the guardhouse, and then the lab at the end. And then for RE2, there was the police department, the sewers, and then the lab at the end. Like, what do you remember being, like, the levels in Resident Evil 3?
I just remember the city and the clock tower.
Yeah, the clock tower is really the only one that I think is iconic of Resident Evil 3.
In the subway.
The trolley cart. Yeah, you missed that. There was some Capcom swearing.
Some fuck damn shitting.
Some shit bird. Yeah, like... So, like, Resident Evil 3 is kind of, like, not as memorable as the areas that Resident Evil 1 and 2 had. Because you spend so much time in the locations of Resident Evil 1 and 2 compared to Resident Evil 3, which is like, you know, the City of the Dead kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. Oh wait, no, it's fine. Wait, no. Wait.
Oh. I like the little stick that comes out in your step.
No.
Can't possibly step over that.
Like, that's the other thing, is, like, I don't think Resident Evil 3 was particularly great. I think it was a little bit of a step down compared to Resident Evil 2. So, you know, you go from Resident Evil 2, which was, like, the best one, to Resident Evil 2, the remake, and it's like, it's just as good. But then you go from Resident Evil 3, which was okay. It didn't really fulfill, you know, its intentions. And then you go to this, and it's like, this is kind of better. and like, I feel like the only thing that would be, oh, they didn't have that in there, is nostalgia. Not necessarily like, is it a good game? Yeah, you missed a little bit of events.
I was asleep.
There was a lot of sleep.
And pizza.
But it's fine, because pizza will always be there for you. I'm also very full.
There's pizza and chicken.
I also think I fixed the issue, because, like, the fucking video desyncing from the audio is such a just plight on my existence. I'm pretty sure I fixed that. I found a way.
Going forward?
Yeah, going forward. I've solved it, I think. Well, we're yet to see, because like, that first one we did was really fucked up. I had to do a lot to fix. I had to do a lot of fixing.
Fixins. Last night, for those keeping track.
Yeah, I'm trying to at least finish the game.
I didn't know if you wanted to do the whole thing.
I did want to do the whole thing. I did want to do it. That's right, Matt. That's right, Matrix. You did say that. So that I could, like, look up videos and, like, because I want to watch some knife only speedruns. Especially, like, there's one boss and I'm like, oh man, I want to see someone kill this thing with a knife only.
Who put a scissor lift right there?
Look, it's very, very difficult. Where the fuck is the last one?
The last wooden plank in the wheel in the cogs. You have to shoot.
Yeah, this game is a way more linear. Almost. That's what I was saying that before. It's like, if you take someone who hasn't played Resident Evil and have them play Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and then this, and then Resident Evil 4, it's probably going to feel a lot more natural going from Remake to 2-make to 3-make to 4, compared to, here's 3 static camera angle, what would you call it? Tank control, like fixed camera angle,
Dual shock.
DualShock game. Oh my fucking god! Hello, good sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, good sir. Can you follow me up here? I don't like your sound effects. Where are you? Oh, right there.
Oh my. Croc will jump out and eat you. It'll touch penis. You don't like it. Okay, at least.
There we go.
Yeah.
That sucked. I know you did. Yeah, way better fighting those with Jill than with
Alright, here goes.
Carlos.
Carlos.
Oh, the ladies love my all the ladies love my sexy accent.
I don't know where I'm from.
I don't know. It sure is somewhere.
It's Peruvian penis.
Now let's remember to save, like a fucking idiot.